Okay, I try to play the middle round, but I've just done the statistics. The reason why Trump won this time around, and I didn't vote for him, so don't peg me for that, is because the bulk of the far right that you woke people talk about infiltrated the far left. All those people, the bulk of them coming from Trump's camp that were coming to your camp were the far right. Congratulations, you let your enemy into your turf. But, anyways, you were already at this point so extreme and intolerant towards basically meeting like a horseshoe effect with the far right, which is the actual biggest pipeline. There is no actual pipeline like libertarianism, Green Partyism, whatever, that's a pipeline to the alt-right. There is only one pipeline to the alt-right, which is extreme left-wing politics because it's still authoritarianistic. So what I'm trying to say here is you kind of dropped the ball and didn't focus on the core tenets of the environment and shit like that, and sensible policies, meet in the middle kind of thing. And you made Trump look mildly tolerant compared to what should have happened. Like, if you can make Trump look tolerant, what the fuck's wrong with you? And it's like there's a middle way with this. Like, people say, well, women are afraid of men. Well, yeah, for those exact same reasons, men are afraid of women. The problem is not one or the other, it's a divide. There's a divide between men and women, the smart and the dumb, the overly educated with the people who are capable of seeing outside the box. See, the big problem here is a level of divisiveness. But what I've seen is that the divisiveness seems to be objectively on the left. The level of self-reflection. So, like, the difference between any cluster B personality disorder, that's what a psychopath is. There's different kinds, like borderline personality disorder, narcissism, whatever. And a regular person or even an empath isn't that they're better people, but rather that they're capable of self-reflection. So, congratulations, far left. You've essentially become what Trump used to be. And you've actually made Trump look good, which I thought was impossible. You have essentially achieved an impossible feat and doomed the world in the process. Like, I'm actually quite amazed. You've managed to become completely the exact thing that you said you hated, and you still cannot self-reflect outside of that. This is a huge problem. I had a conversation, or tried to have a conversation with a neighbor of mine who's far left. I didn't know he was, but and I said, well, it's funny because we don't know if they're aliens or not, but like that 1% are technically perceived to be aliens of UFOs because there's no other way to explain it because they're unexplainable and doing things physically that we can't do. We can see that to the bulk of this 1% seems to be craft of some kind, but we don't even know what it is. It could be in a mirage or whatever, but we don't know. But the most likely answer is if they are physical craft, which they seem to be, and they're doing all these crazy things, like existing in multiple places at once, traveling faster than the speed of sound, making a straight left-hand turn, 90 degrees without decelerating, and also traveling faster than the speed of light, disappearing and zipping in and out of existence. These seem to be impossible by our standards, but they're still following laws of physics. We just can't replicate them physically in the real world. So we know physically they're probably interacting with the Planck state interacting with the Higgs field at the cosmic floor, which basically would essentially be a game shark to the universe. That basically means you could edit the universe at will, including your position in it. Or they're using some kind of tachyon physics or something like that. It's essentially heavy math. But I couldn't even get into the 1% statistic that we don't know. There's like 1% of like 300 trillion objects in the sky. We don't understand. We just understand that bulk of them are craft. We just don't understand what they are, and what they're doing. And we cannot replicate them. So they are not drones. The drones in New York are probably just drones. But the issue is that 1% of the things in the sky, we don't fucking know what they are. And like, he argued, before I could even get that in to clarify, I couldn't even get a few words in when he just started interrupting with me and screaming at me. No, 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 no. And the issue is, the problem here is, leftists, you look like the more intolerant one. I am also center left, But anyone who is not far left is far right to you. You seem to have this very black and white monolithic worldview. It's called, myopathy. You are incapable of seeing outside of your little worldview. The funny thing is, that's what autism is. That's the main criteria that makes you autistic. That's crazy. The funny thing is, the actual autistics have less of this tendency. The actual narcissists, another tenet of narcissism, if you have that criteria, depending on the level of empathy you can show, you are either dangerously autistic, like a danger to yourself and others level autistic, or you are a narcissistic or a psychopathic person, like a cluster B person, or both. And you display this more than either of those two things. The core tenet of psychopathy, you show more than Trump. That whole fake news, even though it's not fake news, and the other side the blind squirrel can't find one nut, everyone's wrong but me. Yeah, that kind of worldview is like incredibly toxic, and that's why people are fed up with this. I told people that I knew Trump was going to win because I saw the patterns happening everywhere, and I was trying to warn my sister, who incidentally worked for a certain president, not Trump, not saying anything. And I told her she needed to warn people at the top because they were going to lose. They needed to do something to win. And I basically was ousted by my whole family for simply stating a fact that statistically you had zero chances of winning. I said in Georgia, he's going to lose a lot of these minority votes, especially Hispanics and blacks. That's exactly what happened. Why? Because I looked at the data, regardless of what my opinion and what I wanted to believe, and I saw that Georgia was going to fall, followed by North and South Carolina. She would mildly win Virginia and the north of Maine because of the influx from the far right into the far left. You have gained about 33% of the far right. The rest have left Trump because of his stance on Israel. That's right, the pro-Palestinian mob issue lost you the tolerant members of your party and gained you favoritism amongst David Duke. Green Party and the left wing, despite having people of other colors, has gained you the favor of David Duke and the leaders of the neo-Nazi party. That's the problem with you guys. You're unaware that your policies are incapable of functioning, as I guess it's the problem with education and other things, but you can't just keep doing this shit. It's impossible for you to even see the truth because you've been educated to not be able to notice it. It's like you've got blinders on. And, the fact that the far right can just infiltrate you like that shows how stupid and out of touch you are with reality. Also, I've noticed a look, like left-wing people during the last Trump administration and during the Barack Obama administration had normal-looking faces. You all have like a look like this, like almost like you're hypnotized, or like almost like you're like incapable of thinking, almost like you're stupefied. And I guess it's like you become politically inbred. The problem is school makes you crazy. It makes you incapable of seeing anything else, because you know that they don't allow anyone of any other political worldview other than the furthest fringes of the far right and the far left. The destructive people that like killing Jews and killing black people. Yeah, those are the people that are and always have been allowed politically in schools. It teaches you to be violent. That's the problem. Now, this doesn't mean you don't go to school. It just means you don't go to a brick and mortar school. Go online. You do not have to go to school. You don't need a degree. And if you do need a degree, there's so many other ways to do it. You'll get brainwashed otherwise. Peace, love. I hope you realize your fallacies, and may we all be blessed. Merry Christmas.